Hi, this is a presentation on Jerome Seymour Bruner. He was born on October 1st, 1915 to Polish Jewish immigrants. He grew up in New York City and was the youngest of four. He was born blind, but at the age of 2 he had operations to allow him to see. He has stated in the past that his blindness never crippled him and that it gave him a spacious air of great alertness. Jerome spent much of his life in academia and was highly educated. His degrees include a bachelor's from Duke, master's and doctorate degrees in psychology from Harvard. He held various types of faculty positions over the years at Harvard and the University of Oxford in the UK. He then returned back to the US to join the faculty at New York University. He has made large contributions to the world of psychology as a pioneer in the field, especially his ideas in human cognitive psychology and cognitive learning theory in educational psychology. His work is influenced by Darwin, Vygotsky, and very heavily by Piaget, with whom he worked with. We will introduce 6 concepts relevant to the early childhood education, which Bruner believed in. A child beginning at infancy develops through 3 stages: the inactive stage, the iconic stage, and the symbolic stage. Bruner believes that just as a child goes through each of these 3 stages when growing up, anytime we are presenting new instruction to the students, we should present it by going through these 3 stages. Here are some examples of each stage that Karinka and Roz will talk about. In his view, anytime we're teaching, we should first present a concept in the inactive stage involving direct manipulation of objects. Then we reintroduce the concept in the iconic stage using some form of imagery. And finally, we reintroduce the concept symbolically using words or formula. A child can be taught anything at any stage of early development as long as it is presented in the right manner. This was the underpinning of his spiral curriculum, a preferred way of organizing content to be taught because it follows from how students represent content from the inactive to the symbolic stage. He coined the word scaffolding to describe young children's oral language acquisition. Helped by the parents, when they first start learning to speak, young children are provided with informal instructional formats within which their learning is facilitated. Scaffolding is inspired by Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, a concept where an expert assisting a novice or an apprentice. Children are active in the process of learning, continually structuring and restructuring their environment. Thus, he is opposed to the view of the passive learner mechanically associating stimuli and responses. Instead, Bruner believes that people selectively perceive certain aspects of their environment, represent those perceptions internally, and then act on those internal representations. Education should create learners who learn for the sake of learning. Discovery learning is important according to Bruner because it provides the opportunity for students to construct their own meaning rather than simply memorizing the meaning someone else has assigned to something. Discovery learning has students as active, engaged participants in the process, which also enhances their intrinsic motivation for learning. It's through language that we learn about objects and how to understand them. Language is very fundamental according to Bruner. For people at the symbolic stage, language is also the basis of our thought. Because language is so vital to our thought process, if we do not have the word for a concept, then according to Bruner, we don't fully understand the concept. In this sense, our language shapes, to a large extent, that which we are able to learn and know. Collectively, these concepts are part of the learning theory of education. Bruner has had further influence as an architect of the U.S. Department of Education's revolutionary Head Start program and as a consultant in the modern development of Reggio Emilia curriculum. Bruner lived to 100 years old and only died this year on June 5th. He has left a large mark on educational psychology and early childhood education. During his lifetime, he published many books. These are just some of them. The two most profound books of Bruner are The Process of Education and The Culture of Education. Are there any questions? Thank you for listening.